Hey, what's going on, guys? Crass Businessman here. So today I want to talk about the topic of feminism. I'm only going to touch on a few different points, and then hopefully we can elaborate in the comments, maybe a little bit, discuss some different things. So the first thing I want to say is that I personally believe that feminism is a severely flawed idea because it starts off with the guys that, okay, we're pursuing equality, right? Even though we have equal opportunity right now, we've had equal opportunity for quite a while now. You know, it's seeking equality while favoring one sex over the other, which is not equality. Definitionally, that is a complete, it's completely illogical. So, moving on, we'll say this: that a lot of claims are made that there's a huge wage gap, and they take basically the average number or the average gross income of women in the workforce and compare that to the average number of men gross income in the workforce, and men make more than women do in that regard. But what they're failing to understand is several different factors, such as there's a lot more men in the workforce. So if there's a lot more men working, there's going to be more, especially if they're doing more precarious jobs such as logging and oil rigging and things that risk your fucking life that you get paid a lot of money for, then the average is going to go up. Compare that to women who are more drawn to positions that don't pay as well, such as administrative positions and teaching and things of that nature. So, when you compare these two things, just at the surface, yeah, it looks like there's a huge wage gap, but there's not if you incorporate all the right factors. So, additionally, I want to say that, people like to often bring this up. They say, "Oh, well, in an apples to apples comparison, right? You have one nurse and one male nurse and one female nurse, at the same exact location. They got the same number of years of experience and they got the same right? And he makes more than she does." And it's like, well, that could be for a number of reasons as well. And it's usually not because of some sort of misogynistic thing. Usually your pay is determined by what you ask for. Like if you go to a position and they're like, okay, so starting pay is $14 an hour. You say, can't live on that. If you want me, it's got to be at least $16 an hour, right? My skills and experience are more than worth it. If you are worth it, they'll do it. That's the thing. If you're worth it, they'll do it. If you're assertive, then they're more likely to want to hire you in the first place at the right pay. So it's not necessarily that the job determines your pay. It's that you determine what you're willing to work for, and they either agree or they disagree. So, if you go in there and you don't really care, you're just desperate for a job, they're going to give you whatever they're going to pay you. And from a business owner standpoint, it's like you want a job to be done, okay? And you are trying to pay the least amount of money that you have to get that job done. Like, nobody wants to, piss money out the window. It doesn't even make any sense. It's not that you don't want to pay anybody anything. It's that you want to get the job done the most efficient way possible, for the least amount of pay. So if you got two people, and this usually never happens, like in any position that I've ever had to hire people, there have never been, super duper close, positions where it's like one guy and one girl, and they're both exactly equivalent on every front. That is so ridiculously fucking rare that I doubt it ever even happens. Usually one person has substantially better credentials or better experience or better know-how, or they knock it out in the interview, way better than the other person, And it's been women over men and men over women. Like it's been pretty even across the board. It's really more about your personal, what you can offer personally, right? We're not living in this, biblical time where women are just hushed and you don't say anything in church and blah blah blah. This isn't like that anymore, and we need to stop trying to drag the past into the future with us like this old ball and chain, and pretend like everything is just so fucking horrible and that you're so oppressed, this, that, and above. And so in that sense, I want to make this claim that there is equal opportunity. There is. But just because there's not an equal outcome doesn't mean that there's not an equal opportunity. You know, so for example, if you have a pair of twins, right, and both are subjected to a test, twin A does worse on the test than twin B. And does this mean that the test was geared towards inhibiting twin B? No. It can mean a myriad of other factors. It can mean so many different things. It could mean that, you know, twin A just sucks at taking tests. You know, but in the society we live in today, we try to create this facade that, you know, nobody is bad at anything, and that whatever institution, you know, that it's the institution that's at fault. You know, so like if I try to get into Harvard and I don't get in, then oh well, it's just because it's just because they don't like fucking, you know, half Hispanic, half French Canadian people. You know, that's not the fucking case. Maybe you just suck. Maybe you just don't have what it takes yet or at all. You know, and we need to stop living like this, because it doesn't help anything by placing the blame on other people, because the only person you can change is you. You can influence, but what is it really going to do if it's under a false premise? You know, if the problem isn't somebody else and you're trying to influence everybody else to believe that the problem is someone else, then what is that doing? It's not helping anything. Now, I'm not so naive as to believe that every institution is perfect and, you know, everyone's just bitching for nothing. There are definitely some cases in which, you know, prejudice is running rampant, and I don't stand for that. Never would I stand for something that would be prejudice, you know, and just unfounded discrimination. That makes no sense. You know, I would never do that. But we need to identify where it is real so that we can attack the real problems instead of, you know, trying to fix problems that aren't yours. You know, so for example, if I was big and fat, I mean, I got a little bit of belly on me, but if I was big and fat, right? And I try to blame the spoon manufacturer for making me fat, you know, what does that help? It fucks the spoon manufacturer now, and it puts a lot of people out of business probably because of bad publicity. And it still doesn't help the problem, because I'm going to find other spoons, or I'm just going to fucking dig it with my hands. You know, the problem is me, or potentially would be me, right? I need to be accountable for my actions. And I think that you'll find that if you do that in every aspect of your life, or at least the most you possibly can, then you're going to find yourself way more empowered. You know, that's why I've always disagreed with the 12-step program, where one of the steps is to admit that you're powerless against your addiction to stop. What? That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. It's like, why would you ever say that I am powerless? Now you can't do anything about it. Now you're just waiting for something else to intervene. Whole another can of worms. I tend to do that. I go off into tangents. Hopefully you guys have been able to follow along. I think I've made my point pretty clear. That I think that equality is the better option other than feminism, because it would be like, you know, meninism, which is going against women, you know, feminism going against men. We don't need to be going against each other. We need to be working together. And part of working together is fixing yourself, fixing your own fuck ups, you know, so that you're not spreading just this crap to the rest of society. So I did want to cover a few more points, but the video's running a little bit longer than I wanted. So hey, let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks, and I'll see you guys in the next one.